everyone, and welcome back to the When We Were Kids, the Time Capsule Toys Podcast. Much like everything else in my life, nothing ever goes according to plan. So, I threw a curveball, and we're going to have my producer here, BJ, down here at Youngstown Studios, is my special guest for the day. You've probably seen him on several other podcasts and everything else that have been recorded down here. He's done AEW interviews, music interviews, tons of stuff. But we're going to talk toys, childhood, and most importantly, Christmas, because this will be the last show before Christmas. So, what was like growing up for you? Like when was your big peak for like toys?
I mean, for as long as I can remember, but like my first memories were of Thundercats, like having those, and I had all those toys. And you remember Constructs, those things you put together. So my brother and I had those. I remember there was a big giant like laundry basket full of Constructs. We'd always build stuff and then inevitably break all of them or throw shit at them or whatever. So that like as far as like peak toy, I would say like so I'm thinking from when I was like 5 to. I mean, I went through everything. I went through like every line. So it was like Thundercats. There was all the like the random outside stuff, whatever. But as far as like toy lines, there was Thundercats. There was Ghostbusters. I was really big on. There was Ninja Turtles. It was like every year there was a new. You know what I mean?
Yeah, how new toy line coming out.
You moved on and went to a new toy line. So yeah, probably just being a kid basically. There was probably like about a 6-7 year period there where it was a new toy line every year.
Who was your go-to Thundercat?
I don't remember. So it's hard for me to remember. Like those are like my first memories of toys at all. Well, it's got to be the main dude, Lino, yeah.
Yeah, having
Lino, and then the little cat dude. I remember the little
Snarf.
Yeah, so I don't remember that because like I was into those before I could like remember anything and why I was into it. You know, like that sort of thing. So yeah,
that line also has some of the most expensive figures, like Bengali. He's stupid expensive. Safari Joe. Oh God.
What's the, I remember the castle. I remember that. What was
Cat Slayer?
What was the like the skull thing that was like
Mummer's Tomb Fortress?
Everybody. Well, it was like they wrote on it. It was like it was a big long thing, and like you would sit the figures on it, but it was like.
What was it for the Thundercats? The Thunder Tank.
Was that what? Okay.
To where the Thunder Tank, I bought one before I ever had the shops. I bought a Thunder Tank off a guy who lived in Brooklyn. I had to drive to his house, his apartment, to get all this stuff. It's like one of the craziest stories I've ever had in my life. He had his Thunder Tank with the box from when he was a kid. He said, because the thing with the Thunder Tank is it was notoriously known for the tracks breaking like instantly. Like they didn't even wait to get dry rotted and they would just break. He said he was so excited he took it out of the box. The first push, both tracks snapped. He said it didn't even last a full push before they just snapped off. But then there's Mummer's Tomb Fortress, which I've had way more of than Cat Slayers, because Cat Slayers are huge and expensive. Then there's like I think probably the most expensive figure in that line is the Tongosaurus.
Okay.
It's this weird dinosaur looking thing.
I think it's what I'm thinking of.
It's probably about this long, and like its tongue rolls out or something. I don't know, but it's like over $2,000.
Oh geez, oh man, I should have saved them Thundercats.
like then there was Stinger. He was some giant like wasp looking guy, but his wings are always broken. And then there was, I think his name was Driller, which was a terrible figure because he had no legs, so he couldn't stand because his body was a drill.
Oh, yeah.
And he had arms, and he was purple and like gray. But those goofy-ass ones, I think no one wanted them as a kid.
Yeah.
Because, like, who wants a drill action figure?
Yeah,
like,
right.
And then Tongosaurus, I don't know why Tongosaurus is so expensive because, like, that's the type of thing I would have wanted as a kid. So you think they would have made a lot, unless it was just, like, stupid-ass money.
Yeah.
And like Bengali's like I said, crazy money. Like Bengali's like $400 if you have his accessory. His accessory is like half of his price.
Yeah, Thundercats. Like I said, I remember having a whole bunch of them, but I don't remember. Like, but I remember moving off of that real quick because it's like I said, when you first start to develop memories, whatever. I had to have been like 4 years old at the time, whatever. So it's like, yeah, but and then it moved on after that. I think it was. I know we had He-Man for a little bit, but that wasn't like a really big one there either. And I might be getting Thundercats confused with He-Man as far as the skull thing. There was like a skull like dinosaur thing that the figures rode on.
Oh, that's Masters of the Universe. That was
I'm getting them mixed up. Yeah.
Oh my god, I have it pictured in my head. It's a skeleton,
Yeah,
like a dinosaur. Why do I cannot remember its name?
And yeah, you would set the figures on it, and like they were supposed to ride this thing.
Yeah,
whatever it was.
you would
Yeah,
snap them into place.
Yeah.
Battle Bones.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. I'm getting my lines mixed up. Yeah, that's the first
Yeah,
year I can remember anything in my life, and I'm all my toy lines.
Yeah,
are mixed.
Battle Bones, because it was that, and then you'd put their accessories in the mouth of it.
Yeah.
And it was like a carrying thing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was like the first like carrying case, pretty much. I think that didn't look like a case that I can think of. Besides, a lot of people actually don't know this either. In GI Joe, it was called the APC, which was called like the Assault Personnel Carrier. It was a vehicle.
Yeah.
But like it had seat belts in it. So you put your Joes in there, and then you put the lid on, and then the bumper would pull out so you could carry it. So that was like a carrying case. There's like the only 2 carrying cases I know of that didn't look like actual carrying cases.
I just remember with Masters of the Universe, Stinkor, the one that stunk. And I remember like playing with that thing, and it stunk. I remember it stinking real bad. I remember your hands would stink after you play with it. Whatever. Like if you get one of those now, does it still stink, or they?
Well, if you watch,
I assume it would wear off.
If you watch
that
Toys
years,
That Made Us, it tells you about Stinkor, and all they did was drop patchouli in it.
Oh, okay.
And they said the factory smelled like death. That they had one factory specifically for Stinkor because it smelled so bad. And they said you'd walk in and it just smelled like pure death.
Yeah.
So basically, if your Stinkor doesn't stink anymore, all you do is pop his head off and drop patchouli in him, and then put his head back on, and he'll start stinking all over again.
I gotcha. Yeah, I just remember your hand. Like, you play with your hands.
Terrible.
Everything reeked.
You're right, because you play with them, your hands would just smell so bad.
I think the only thing that was more of a headache for my mom than Stinkor was any of the like ectoplasm in the Ghostbusters, because that would get in the carpet and it was just done. Like you got to jar that for like 30 seconds before it was ruined and like had like hairballs in it. It was like completely disgusting.
I always wondered about, because almost all those lines that came out had their own version of that's
slime or whatever.
Slime. Yeah. So there's Retro Mutagen Ooze from TMNT.
Yeah.
They had the normal TMNT one, and they have the purple one, which is the Foot Soldier one. Those the canister for those Foot Soldier ones, this is like stupid money. Like people pay like out the nose for those things, because the TMNT ones came with the little turtles inside of them.
Okay.
And then there was, like you said, there was the ectoplasm that came with the Firehouse. Then there were certain colors came with certain figures. Because then there was the Firehouse one was red. There was a purple one and a yellow one for Ghostbusters. I think the yellow one's really, really hard to find, if my memory serves me right.
I just remember the green one was the only one I think we had, and we had it it was very short lived because it was just as soon as that slime got on anything, and you couldn't, it just stuck to anything. So it would be in the carpet. You'd rip part of the slime out and get on the couch. You'd be all reclosed.
It always had hair in it.
It was a mess.
Fuzzballs.
Yeah,
it was
immediately.
Gross.
Yeah.
And then
it was immediately gross.
Masters of the Universe, their slime came with the slime pit. It was just called slime. Toxic Crusaders had their own. Oh my god. I'm sure there's more that I just can't think of. But like everyone had their own. And those canisters.
If you get the ectoplasm slime now, or whatever, is it still slimy, or did it turn into like just a big ball of hard whatever?
Well, I can tell you that the slime for the Masters of the Universe slime pit turns into like a rock.
Yeah.
Like each one was like made differently. So it's so weird. Like some of the turtle stuff is still ooze.
Yeah.
But then like the red ectoplasm, becomes like extra watery. Like it just like
it probably separates. There's some weird oil in there.
It's
or something
weird. So I don't know about any of the other colors, but like each one is something different. Like I had a sealed canister of slime, and like it like. I don't know what happened to it, but it got like all crusty around the edges. It was still sealed, and like so up underneath the plastic looked like sugar. Basically, it looked like crystallized.
Yeah,
but you would shake it and it sounded like it had a rock in there. But like each one did something different. But like the slime, like I had a slime pit as a kid, but like I never played with it, the slime, because I didn't want to get my figures covered in crap because now I just have to clean them.
Yeah,
like on the commercials they made it look so much easier than what it truly was. I'm like, how am I supposed to scoop all my slime out and put it back in the canister?
Yeah, it was not well thought out. Yeah, like I said, we had that for about 30 seconds growing up before it was in the trash.
It goes into the trash.
Yeah,
because it's covered in, like I said, hair, fuzz. It's stuck in the carpet.
Yep.
It's like stuck on the dog.
Oh yeah.
And, like it's everywhere but where it should be. It was a terrible idea.
Yeah, well, even if you poured it on your figures were jacked up. You had to clean your like it would. You couldn't get the slime out the figures. And it was like pouring glue on your figures. Like why would I do this?
Yeah, because there's certain like for example, like Ghostbusters figures and stuff like that were probably easier to clean than some of like the Master of the Universe figures. Because Master of the Universe figures, like you couldn't pour it on Grizzlor. He was covered in hair. Moss Man had AstroTurf basically on him, so that was gonna be terrible to get it off. But like the Ghostbusters were pretty simple to get it off of.
Yeah.
But still, who wants to clean their figures because you're playing and then you're like, oh, he got slimed and now we got to stop playing because we have to clean them to continue our story of what we're playing.
Right.
Which was like slime. In retrospect, it was a terrible idea.
Yeah, it was 100%.
Like it just was not good. So you had the firehouse then?
I never had the firehouse. No.
What did your slime come with? Do you remember?
I think it was just on its own. Like it was just you could buy just the cans of slime.
Oh yeah, because they have the little counter displays where you can buy the cans of slime. Okay.
Yeah, so we just had the can of slime, but yeah, we never had I always wanted the firehouse. I always saw it in the wish book or in the catalog or whatever, and I was like, man, that'd be great. And I never had it though. And then
I never got any Ghostbuster stuff. I used to have to go across the street to the neighbor's house to play with any Ghostbuster stuff because I don't know why they had all the Ghostbuster stuff. So I'd just go over there and play with it, and I'd just play with like the monsters and the ghosts were like the best things that they came out with, like Fearsome Flush, the haunted toilet.
Yeah, that cartoon was awesome. Like that cartoon was like groundbreaking, and like for animation purposes, like it still looks great. Like if you watch any of that, it's a killer cartoon.
And the one thing that kills me is the fact that they never made a figure for like the best episode.
Which episode?
The Boogeyman episode.
Oh yeah.
They never made a Boogeyman figure, which now I guess I don't know if it's Mondo or someone else in 2025 is like releasing the Boogeyman figure. I'm like, it's gonna be like $200.
Yeah,
but I'm like, right. I have to have it because it's the only figure I ever wanted from that line. It was like the episode that stuck out to me the most because in my head, like you always thought about the Boogeyman. You never thought about how the Boogeyman looked. And then seeing him in that cartoon, I'm just like, that's what always stuck out in my head. That and they never, also in the older line, they never made the Sam Hain, the rumor was always that the Sam Hain episode only aired once. Because parents got mad that their kids were getting introduced to the devil.
I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't know that. But I do. Ghostbusters, man. That was the thing, man. That was probably
that cartoon was amazing.
Yeah, the cartoon was awesome. But yeah, that was a huge line for a while. Whatever. I had the car, the Ecto one. And I had all the individual guys and everything else too, whatever. But yeah, never got the firehouse though, unfortunately.
You hear that, Mom? Buy me the firehouse.
Ruined my childhood and give me the firehouse.
Do you remember, like for Christmas, like I always love to ask people this. Like, do you remember there being a Christmas to where like you got a toy or whatever that you were just like, what in the world is this? I didn't ask for this. Like, why did you buy me this? And then like your parents were just like, why aren't you playing with it?
Not from my parents so much. We would usually ask for stuff, and I mean whether we got it or not was one thing. But my grandmother was like the ultimate at getting the weirdest gifts, and it was always like bargain gifts that she got at like Big Lots or Gabe's. Like, she loves shopping at Gabe's, Gabriel's, whatever. Like, because like, oh, I found these pants for 30 cents for you, whatever. So she got my brother's takes the cake though. So you remember the athletic brand Voit?
Do I remember Voit?
So
I remember. Here's a good story about how terrible my childhood was. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, you're good.
I wanted Reebok pumps so bad. Mm. My mom brought me to Ames and bought me Voit pumps.
Yeah.
They did nothing. Yeah. There was no pumping action. You pump and it wasn't tightening your ankle or anything. It did nothing. Yeah. Because I wanted Reebok pumps and they were like $50. Mm. I got Voit pumps. They were like $19.95. Like, instead of the school basketball circle, they were a triangle and it just said Voit real big. And everyone's like, what are those? I'm like, pumps. They go, those are Voits. I'm like, well, they're still pumps. They go, no, they're not. Reebok makes pumps. I'm like, so I was like the white trashy kid with Voit. And I haven't heard Voit in forever. But the second you said that, I literally went back to Ames when I had to get my stupid ass Voit shoes.
Well, so my grandma bought my brother a pair of Voit sweatpants, but she got them at Gabriel's, and they didn't say Voit; it said T-Off. It was backwards, and those are the best. Like that took the thing. Oh, they were only 50 cents or whatever the hell they were. I was like, it's T-Off. Like, what are these
T-Off pants? Oh my god.
She was notorious for getting just weirdo. It was always like it was always a regular clothing of some time. You always got a regular underwear, like a pack of like you would get it and like there wouldn't be a crotch in the underwear, or there'd be like weird. They'd be like weird. You put it on and be like, I can't
had no legs cut out.
You used to throw them away. Yeah, like. Oh, rest in peace, Grandma Millie. Yeah, she got us some weird stuff. So yeah, my parents though, like, it was just always. Not that we got everything we asked for or anything like that, but they usually kept it within the realm of what we were kind of looking for. You know what I mean? Like, if I was into a certain action figure line or whatever, I usually would get a couple figures from that at least, you know, on Christmas, whatever. I'm sure there was whatever that was like, why did you get me that? I mean, anytime that you opened up and there was clothes on Christmas morning, like, immediately, like, you know, I don't care about this. Like,
yeah, that's how it, as a kid, like, no one wants clothes. Like, my mom would get me clothes and crap like that for Christmas, and I was just like, what the? I think the one year for Christmas, I don't remember if I mentioned this before or not, my grandma. I mentioned my grandma and her terrible gift giving all the time. Like, the used vacuum she gave my mom, the girl's sweatshirt she gave me the one year that she bought like 4 years before, like at Christmas. My grandma bought me this shirt. I'll never forget it. It was so goddamn ugly. My mom made me wear it for pictures. Like, I can close my eyes and still see it. It was like blue and black marbling sleeves. It was a sweatshirt. Then there was a strip across the middle that had two Dalmatians facing each other. And it said something. And then down here underneath the white strip that had the Dalmatians was the black and blue marbling, and then up top was the black and blue marbling. We didn't have Dalmatians.
Yeah.
Like, at all. Ever. No one in my family ever had Dalmatians, so I'm like, why the hell did you buy me this shirt? My mom was like, you gotta wear it for your photos. I'm like, why? I had to. Oh my god, my parents still have the picture. I'd probably bring it in, but I don't think they do. But I'd probably look so miserable. I think I only wore that shirt like twice. And it was like one of the worst shirts I've ever got for Christmas. And I just still to my day, just, like to this day, I just think about like why I opened it at her dining room table. I'll never forget. I opened it and I just stared at it. And like I didn't say anything. Like I was like, I don't know, like 8. I was like, this shirt is terrible. Like, couldn't you have bought me like a Chicago Bulls shirt or something? No, you bought me some shirt with Dalmatians on it.
Yeah, anytime you opened up the gifts and there was clothes, it was like, like just immediately like, no. I just remember that feeling of, and you knew when you were getting clothes or somebody handed you a box, whatever, you're like, that's a clothes box. Like, you know, like, and it was never clothes. It was always like, oh, well, you need those clothes. Well, yeah, I know I need these clothes. It's not what I want.
Like, yeah, it's not what I want at all. Like, I remember growing up, I cannot tell you how many times I asked for a Larry Johnson jersey because I was obsessed with the Charlotte Hornets. and him being Grandmama, which I'm sure everyone's going to be like, what's Grandmama? And they're going to go search it because I'm sure everyone forgot. Never got one. I always wanted a Jordan jersey. Never got one. Like, I always wanted jerseys from, like, basketball. Because growing up, I was, like, huge into basketball. Never got any jerseys ever.
It's weird. We never got jerseys either. And I don't know why. My brother and I played sports all the time. And we were into sports, especially, like, baseball. But I don't remember like, I've been a Cincinnati Reds fan my whole life. I don't ever remember getting... like a Reds jersey. I never had a Reds jersey growing up. Not one. Like it was. I take that back. One time, do you remember when they came out with a Cooperstown collection? I don't know if you remember this. So it was like these throwback, whatever. I had one shirt like that I got, and I was probably like 13 or 14 at the time I got that. It wasn't like when I was a kid, but as like a kid, I don't ever remember having anything like sports related or whatever, like clothing. I mean, might have had a shirt here or there or whatever, but it's so weird. We never got I never had a jersey. I thought that's my brother if he ever got one, but
yeah, the only jerseys I ever got I think they were even for Christmas. I think I had used my own like Christmas money to buy them. Was like in middle school, I was obsessed with Troy Aikman and Emmitt Smith. So like, I found them at Gabe's.
Yeah,
and it was Gabe's in Kent. Because that was the only games we had. And I found them there, and I was, like, so ecstatic. Because they were, like, $15 or something like that. But, like, those were the only jerseys I ever had growing up. Was, like, a Troy Aikman and an Emmitt Smith. And God knows what the hell happened to them. Because I had them in, like, 5th grade, I think, is when I had them. But I always wanted basketball jerseys. Never got them. I always got clothes I didn't want. Like, Voigt shoes and... those black and gold god-awful looking Nikes. Like, I had a pair I remember the one year I bought, I had to pay for half of them because that's how cheap my mom was. I wanted a pair of Airwalks so bad because they were in style.
Yeah.
I had to pay for half of them because my shoe budget was $25 and they were like $50. So I had to save up money to get the other half so I can get these Airwalks. No joke. Wore these Airwalks from 8th grade to my senior year. They were held together by duct tape. Like my heels were so worn out that they had like flaps on the bottom to where like gravel would get into them. So I had to keep taping the heels up so I'd keep gravel out of my shoes. But yeah, I had to pay like half my own shoe bill for a pair of stupid Airwalks that I literally wore the living hell out of.
I remember, I'm trying to think of my first pair of Chuck Taylors. That probably didn't come until I was almost in high school. That, you know what I mean? Like, and I don't think, my brother and I didn't really like think about, he started thinking about clothes and stuff. Do you remember IOU in the Southern Park Mall? Do you remember the IOU brand of clothes?
I don't.
Oh, it was rough. It was like this weird, like preppy sort of like big sweatshirts, like with IOU on. It was horrible. I mean, looking back, it's like, why would anybody wear this? My brother was way into it. I remember, I think I had one or two of them before. I was like, I didn't really care. Like, I wore whatever the hell I had. Like, it wasn't.
Yeah.
Clothes didn't matter to me until I probably got to high school. Like, even then, it was just, I would just wear, band T-shirts or whatever at that point. But yeah, there were some weird clothing brands my brother got into, whatever. But his kids, like, I don't think I never thought about clothes or what I was wearing. And then it was just like whatever. Like, you look back at photos, it was like I wore sweatpants half the time to most days.
Yeah, like
that's all
every picture I see of myself as a kid, it's like I'm wearing the Sergeant Slaughter shirt or this Bernie Kosar shirt. Like, those are the only shirts I seem to ever wore when I was growing up, besides the Dalmatian shirt for photos. But you saying that IOU thing. At the Eastwood Mall, there was in high school, I used to shop at a place called DJ's.
Oh, yeah.
I wanted Jinkos.
That's what so the IOU is the brand name. DJ's was the store.
Okay.
DJ's in Southern Park Mall. Yeah.
So I wanted Jinkos so bad, and my mom refused to buy them for me because they were like $80 freaking a pair. Sometimes $100 a pair. And like, 'cause, they had those giant ass pockets, and they had stupid like flaming dice with like a dragon on the pocket, or on the seam they put like green like tubing. Because I borrowed some kid I went to high school with, like, gave me a pair, but like I bought a DJ's I'll never forget because I worked at Ponderosa. That's how I afforded them. They were 2 for $40. They're called elephant legs. Mm-mm. They were like 40-inch wide pants. But I bought 2 pairs and I just rotated them every day. Mm-hmm. And I wore them for I don't even know how long. But I bought those at DJ's. And like they were my cheap Jinkos. Because I couldn't afford actual Jinkos. Like my friend, like one of my best friends in high school, she worked there. So she was like, "Oh, we got cheap Jinkos," so that's how I got them. That's like when I got really into during high school, I got like super into Dragon Ball Z. So like they had Dragon Ball Z shirts and shit there. So that's where she would always give us discounts and shit. That's probably why they went under.
I remember working in the mall. I think I had to have been like a freshman in high school. I remember I got hired at KB Toy Store, and I didn't work there long because I was like, what? But yeah, it was just I just remember it being a total pain in the ass working there. And then like I had friends and stuff that would come in and they would just steal shit when I was working there. So they had like the big bin of like PlayStation had just started, so I had to have been in high school at this point then. So. Like they had like the bargain games that were like outside or whatever, like the games that went on sale, whatever. There was a big thing, and like like friends that would just come in and take big stacks, whatever. I remember an old lady was like I was getting paid like $4, whatever minimum wage was at the time. It was like $4 something an hour. But I remember this old lady walked in one time. I was sitting there talking to my friend, and she grabbed like 2 board games off the shelf. And like she's standing there, and then as she's sitting there holding them, she's just taking Barbies, and she stacked up the Barbies to where it was almost like comically like up past her head, and she just walked right out of the store with all of it. And my friend's like, "Are you gonna go after her?" I was like, "They don't pay me enough to go after her. I don't care. I don't take it." Like, so needless to say, I didn't have that job very long because of the
theft back in the day was like almost like a movie. Like you just said, like she just had board games and stacked a bunch of Barbies up and just walked out the door. I'll never forget. Oh my God, I don't even remember how many years ago it was. It's when like flat screens first came out. I'm walking into Super K in Niles as a guy is riding a shopping cart out trying to go down that hill towards the light. As his kid is running, and he goes, "Run for the car." That's what he said to the kid. The kid runs to the car. He's going the complete opposite way on the cart, like down the hill with the TV, as security's running after him because he tried to steal a TV for Christmas. This is at Christmas time. I'll never forget it. And he's riding the cart down the hill. I'm like, you abandoned your kid for a TV. Like, and I'm just like, and I just, like, theft back then was like the most comical, ridiculous thing. Now, like, people go through great lengths to steal shit, and you don't find out till like they stole like $100,000 worth of crap.
There was a kid I remember in high school, and he had a whole side business of just stealing CDs from Best Buy, and he would steal like oh what album do you want? And he would go steal it for you, like, and then he would sell it to you for like half the price, whatever. Like he did that like. He must have sold thousands of CDs in there, just shoving these CDs down his pants before they finally caught on to him. But it was like, he did that for a year. He probably did that. Like, how much money this kid made?
God, I can't.
Before they had those little things on it that went off before they had the security devices on them.
Oh,
so, yeah.
Was it back when they had the big long plastic things on them?
Yeah, there were those, and then anything that was in a bargain bin that didn't have anything on it, so those were way easier to grab too. But yeah, any of the ones that had like the plastic on them, yeah, he would shove them down his pants and walk out the door. It's like, all right.
Oh my God, it's one of those things that you always wonder what they're doing now.
The kid's probably in jail.
In jail? What are you in jail for? Stole CDs in '92.
I'm sure he graduated from that into other crimes because he wasn't exactly the most straight-laced kid. You know what I mean? Like, he was pretty sketchy to begin with. So,
do you remember like your best Christmas you ever had?
It was getting Nintendo for the first time because
that was the same Christmas I had. I had my Nintendo. I got Super Mario Brothers 3. Got DuckTales. I got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles soundtrack on cassette, which I don't know why I got it because that soundtrack's not good.
No, I remember the Christmas we got Nintendo. So we got Nintendo like a year after everybody else. Like our neighbors had it and stuff, and so like, we'd play it and was like, oh, we gotta have Nintendo, we gotta have Nintendo. So when we finally got it, I just remember my mom being really pissed off at my brother and I because all we did the whole day was play Nintendo. Like, you're supposed to come visit family. We're like, no, we got. I asked my brother this the other day because I was like, what were the first games? Obviously, you get Super Mario and Duck Hunt with the system. I think the other one was Lee Trevino's Fighting Golf, right? So
I have a question about that game.
Yeah, sure.
Why was it called Fighting Golf?
Nobody knows. Like, I think they based it off of something else. It was some Japanese translation where they had to put fighting in the title, whatever. But it was just like that game too. Like, it was hard as hell. It's still hard as hell. Like, but it was the most realistic golf game until like PlayStation came out, because like all the 16-bit golf games were complete garbage. Like none of that. Like either the swings were weird, or it took forever to load the stuff, or it was just they were all wonky. But yeah, Lee Trevino's Fighting Golf. I remember I played that for just days and days and days and days, and you finally got kind of good at it. But it was by far the most realistic golf game on for anything for the longest time. But yeah, my brother and I got, like I said, we got Super Mario and that. I just remember just playing it just constantly. You know what I mean? Those like I said, pissing off my mom, not hanging out with family because we all wanted to do was play Nintendo.
I'll never forget the one year for Christmas, my aunt would always buy me like a video game. One year for Christmas, the reason why I think of this because someone actually brought it into the shop and sold it to us. And I was like, and I told them the story about how I got it from my aunt for Christmas, and how I never understood like why anyone would think that, like, this game would actually be good. Mm. One, as a video game. Two, for kids. Wall Street Kid.
Yeah, playing the stock market.
I'm like, I don't know what the hell the stock market is. I don't know what I'm doing. Like, that game, I'll never forget my aunt buying me that. I'm like, I have no clue what the hell I'm doing.
That was like when you got like trivia games on there or whatever. I think like Jeopardy was one, and there were weird ones where it was like you had to answer questions. It's like, I don't answer questions. I want to play a video game.
Yeah, there was Jeopardy. There was Family Feud.
Uh-huh.
There was Remote Control.
I remember Remote Control, yeah.
I don't remember any other ones. There's some stupid Sesame Street ones, but I never played this.
I remember the Three Stooges game had that element to it. One of the games within it was answer trivia about the Three Stooges.
I never played that game.
Game was hard. That game was hard too.
Like,
yeah.
Almost every game for Nintendo was fucking hard, unless it was like Super Mario Bros.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, I mean, I think I told you this before. Like, I bought an emulator not too long ago, whatever. And you go back to some of these games you played as a kid, and you didn't realize like how good you were at these as kids, and how terrible you are as an adult. Like, all we had to do back then was play these games all day, every day. So you put all this time in, And if you got a crappy game, well, you got a crappy game. It's the only one you're getting for the next couple months. Yeah, that's all you can afford.
There's certain games I remember playing the hell out of, but like, obviously I never beat them, but I would play them constantly. One was Solstice. Mm-hmm. And the game just baffles me, no end, because like it had the tiniest square. That's what you would play. And the rest of the screen was all black.
Yeah.
But I used to play the hell out of that game. And I don't remember the premise of it at all. And then I also used to play the hell out of Fester's Quest, which sucked because like if you got bit by a rat, you would die instantly. Mm-hmm. So I would never get very far. And another one that was... I got it for Christmas when I got my Game Boy. I don't remember what else I got that year for Christmas other than my Game Boy. And Bart versus...
The Space Mutants?
No. It was like Bart versus the Juggernauts, or Bart and the Juggernauts.
There were several of those Simpsons
but like
games,
that game was so fucking hard. Like I could never get past the first level. Another Nintendo game that frustrated me to no end. I'd always rent it from First Row Video... Skate or Die. Mm-hmm. I couldn't land a trick in that game if my life depended on it.
I think I rented that once or twice. I was like, screw this, because you just fail every time.
And I'm like, how do you do anything?
Yeah.
Like the one game I remember playing, it was like the only game. My grandma and grandpa had a Nintendo. I don't know who bought it for them. I know they didn't buy it, but the only games they had were Duck Hunt and Paperboy. So whenever I'd go over there, I'd play Paperboy. Paperboy. Everyone, ever since I did that whole thing on here about how Friday the 13th is impossible to be beaten and crap like that. People always message me or tag me on videos of people beating it on like speed runs and stuff. My buddy Rob, who's on the show before, he just finally beat it for the first time ever. He posted like last week. But like, I don't know anyone who's ever beaten Paperboy. Like, you have to go the whole
Paperboy
week.
was so hard. Like I remember giving up on Paperboy real quick because it was like all you did was run into shit. Like,
Yeah, like
you were just
I
dead
could
every
only
second.
get like 3 days into the week, maybe. And that's like me being like lenient with my abilities of Paperboy because I haven't played it in forever. But like, your whole thing was to make it the whole week.
Yeah.
And I'd always get the newspaper clipping saying that like the Paperboy quit.
I was never good at Paperboy. The hardest one I remember as a kid that I just remember consistently playing again and again, and I didn't actually get to see the end of it until Game Genie came out and it gave you unlimited lives, was The Adventures of Bayou Billy. Was so goddamn hard as a kid. I remember it took me like 2 years to get past the first level, and then when I finally was like, all right, cool, all right, I figure out how to get past the first level, like, right, and then I think the furthest I could get to it was the second driving stage, I believe, because it would go back and forth between shooting stages and driving stages and just the side-scroller stages. But goddamn, that game was so hard. I'm like, how would anybody beat this? I remember even with the Game Genie, because it just gave you unlimited, your energy would go down and it would just automatically refill. But like getting to some of those like end levels, I'm like, how would anybody be able to beat this normally? There's no. I don't think anybody's beat that game legit ever. Like that's one. It's like there's no way. It is no way.
There's a couple other games I always think of, like, who beat this? Like, who framed Roger Rabbit?
I remember I was a rental too. I never had that one. But that was a rental, but it was just like, yeah, I remember it being weird and me not liking it.
Yeah,
that was my takeaways. It was really hard.
It's not a good game. It's hard. I'm trying to think. Oh, I just had another one right on the tip of my tongue. I forgot what it was. But I can tell you the easiest game ever for Nintendo is Contra. But you had to have 30 lives. Because if someone's like, oh, I beat it with only the 3, no, you're full of crap.
Yeah.
I don't believe you. You have to have 30 lives because you'll die like however many times.
Right.
So, like, I'm trying to think there was another really hard game. It was on the tip of my tongue, but my mind just went blank on what it was. And I used to always try to play it, and I'd get so freaking mad.
Well, how about, I remember the first Ninja Turtles game always gets shit on a lot, and it was hard. But, like, I liked it, but it was obnoxiously hard. But how about I didn't realize this until I saw somebody doing either a speed run of it or doing whatever. But like, you could just keep going back. Like you could come out of the sewer and go back down the sewer, and the pizzas would like refresh, so you could like power up. Why didn't I know that as a kid? Like I just miserably got killed.
We didn't have the internet.
I just miserably got killed every minute. You know what I mean? Like, and I didn't.
I'm trying to think.
See the Nintendo Power issue.
There's a handful of other games I always thought were really fun that I never beat, like Double Dragon.
I'd never beat Double Dragon yet. It was fun, but I never beat it.
Yeah, the one game I did beat, I beat it once, but I was an adult, and it took me. I played this game for I think 7 hours straight because I was getting so mad. I'm like, I'm gonna beat this goddamn thing. It's Castlevania. It took me 7 hours. Because like you have to time everything perfectly.
Yeah.
And when you finally get to Dracula, it was like the biggest pain in the ass ever.
That was Castlevania. That was another rental one. We never had that one like regularly, and it was as a rental. It was like, yeah, I'm never gonna get far in this because you need to devote so much time to it. Friday the 13th, I did beat Friday the 13th, but it was so there's ways that you can do it. Like they show all the cheat ways to do it, whatever. Like it's like I actually legitimately went through and did it once. Where you go, it's like you go 3 days, you got to kill them 3 times.
Yeah.
But I think I almost the first time I was almost by accident. Like now I would if I played it again, I would know what to do now. But like you couldn't fight him in the cap. Like if you wanted to actually get him, you had to get either the machete or the pitchfork. You had to get or the fire, and you had to lure him out and hit him on like the side scrolling part, not in the houses, and that's how you would. Like that was the key to beating it. Like you didn't know that, then you had to make sure your people didn't didn't die. And I think when I first did it, it was like, oh my god, I can't believe I beat this.
So, is there a game that is like crazy in price that you currently now as an adult would like to own? Like, there's so many Nintendo games that are like stupid money, like Little Samson.
Nothing like
Chiller,
that.
or Bubble Bobble 2.
I did just order another. I told you I ordered Gauntlet when we started doing this podcast. I ordered that in the box. Well, I did just order Lee Trevino's Fighting Golf in the box too. I was like,
that's probably $7.
That was like 40.
What? It better be sealed.
It was in great shape and everything else too. I was like, all right, I'll buy this. You know what I mean?
Because it's like, God damn, this game's hard.
It's like, yeah, I'll play it on the emulator. Like that one I can at least pick back up again. And it wasn't even so much that the game itself, like hitting the ball or doing whatever, was super hard. The courses were so ridiculously hard. Like, so it was like, okay, here's just the crazy course designs and stuff like that, whatever. So it was like, and they always set it up to where it's like, okay, go this way, and it's easier than if you go this way. But like, you had to hit the absolute perfect shot. The wind had to be going the right direction, whatever. So like, there would always be. I must have restarted that game a million times because you get like 6 or 7 holes. And, I'm doing good, and then you take it 8. Like, nope, just reset, starting over. As far as actual rounds I finished, probably not many, but like.
So, yeah, like I said, is there a certain like expensive game that you're like, one day you hope to own it?
I don't think so. The ones, like I said, that hold the most nostalgia for me were Gauntlet, Lee Trevino's Fighting Golf. I'll probably order a sealed Bayou Billy at some point. So those are the ones I remember spending the most time on.
Yeah.
Those 3 were the just, you know what I mean? Then like all the sports games and stuff that my brother and I play, like I remember playing Tecmo Baseball forever and Tecmo Basketball and Tecmo Football. Like all that was, those sort of sports games and stuff too. But there was nothing like, I don't think there's anything out there that's like that I need to own it. You know what I mean? Like as far as that, like if I'm gonna buy something, it's just gonna be something I played a shit ton as a kid.
Friggin' growing up, I didn't get any like sports games until I got my Sega. In order for me to get my Sega, I had to sell my Nintendo. And so I got my Sega, and we had to go like the person's house because we were buying it used. I don't know why I remember this. The person lived in Howland. It was a Sega that was supposed to come with Sonic, but they didn't have the Sonic game with it.
Mm-hmm.
But I got Pit Fighter, Michael Jackson's Moonwalker, which was such an awful game.
I remember playing that at my friend's house. I never had Genesis. My friend did. I played it at his house, whatever. And that game, he was good at it, but it sucked.
It was not. He would kick and spin, and like sparkles would fly out of his shoes.
His crotch.
He'd grab his crotch, and there was Bubbles the monkey, and like it just. I forget the other game I got with it. It came with 3 games, because then the first sports game I ever got was I think it was Madden '94, and I played the hell out of it. I was always the Cowboys, and then I got Bulls versus Blazers, and I was always the Bulls. And all I would do is shoot threes, like constantly. I'd have like Horace Grant, and I'd be shooting threes.
Yeah, I remember I had TurboGrafx 16, right? So we couldn't like Sega and Super Nintendo was all like too expensive for my parents' blood, whatever. And then I was like, all right, I got to buy this on my own. But TurboGrafx 16 started going out of, it was already dying. So whatever. So it became like this bargain sort of thing, whatever. So like I remember paying it for my own money, buying a TurboGrafx 16 and getting some of like the card games and stuff with it. But like just recently, like I saw, I was like, oh man, like this is like, oh, if you have this system, whatever, it's like $300 or whatever the system. So I'm looking all over the system. I think I sold it like years ago. I took it into like, I'm guessing like with CD Warehouse or any of those places that would buy this stuff, and I'm sure I sold it for like nothing. And because I was looking through my parents' attic, I'm like, where's this game? Where's this game system?
I forget. TurboGrafx 16 had Bonk's Adventure,
and I never had Bonk either because all the games were like $5 to $10, whatever. But Bonk's was still $40. It's like the whole system was $50. Bonk's was still $40. I'm like, I'm not paying for this.
That's the only reason why I had a kid in high school I was friends with. His name was Michael Myers, and he would just tell me all the time about how great TurboGrafx was, and he had Bonk. I'm like, I want a Bonk so bad because you'd watch like video game at Nick Arcade and all other shit in the mornings and afternoons, and they'd be playing Bonk. I'm like, I want this game so bad. My parents were like, no, you're not getting a TurboGrafx. You just got this. And then I was so bummed because but then the other system I thought of, which I don't even know what the main system main game for this system even was. All I remember was I got it years ago. I never played it, but it had the worst controller, hands down, out of any system. was the Atari Jaguar. It looked like a damn telephone.
Yeah.
It was huge. It had like buttons for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Yeah.
And
It looked like a phone almost.
it did.
Like
It was huge. And I'm like, how the hell are you supposed to play anything on this? So I forget what game I even had for it. It was something dumb. It was like Pitfall or something.
Yeah.
I just never played it. And then I couldn't ever find any games for it, so I sold it. But that controller was so awful.
Yeah, we had Atari. It was the 5200 we had as kids. I remember that one, like the first whatever, and the original Mario Brothers on that. And yeah, some of those games. I remember going back to that. It's like, oh my god, how do we play this? like most of the stuff was unplayable. It's like I don't even know. Like I don't even know what to do. Like I remember the one. There was a Star Wars game on there where all you did was go and shoot the AT-ATs, whatever. That was all. The whole thing was just endless. Like it never ended. Like it was like just in a loop constantly. Like what's the point of this game?
Atari games just are not good.
No.
Like the only one I ever would play at my cousin's was Pitfall. Because it's the only one that like kind of
resembled a game like that. Yeah. And the original Mario Brothers, I think, were the ones that resembled something like a game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and then like the rest of it, like E.T., you like fall in a hole.
Oh yeah, that was.
And that was it because they never finished the game because they had to put it out ASAP.
Yeah,
and so you'd fall in a hole, and that's like the end of the game. But then they released goofy stuff for Atari, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah,
and Halloween.
Yeah, we never had this, but I've seen them now. Like, why would you have this?
Like but the games themselves make zero sense.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Atari just stunk. I hated it. I hate it now. Like.
Yeah, I don't have any nostalgia for Atari at all. I wasn't, I mean, it was just like, this is a pain in the ass.
It's like that and Coleco and there's other game systems that I never got to play, like 3DO. Which I'll never forget. This guy I was friends with in high school. He went to a different school than me. He got 3D. He told me they got 3DO for Christmas one year. And they lost their minds. Like, oh my god, because their dad thought like 3DO was gonna be the next Nintendo. But the problem with the 3DO was their games were like $150 a piece. So he bought him like the golf game, and they go, "Oh, sweet. What other games do we get?" He's like, "Nothing. You got golf." And they're like, "Why don't we get anything else?" Because the games are $150 a piece, and we can only afford one. Because the system was like $500.
Man, yeah.
And that's why it failed, because the cheapest game was like $150.
Yeah,
and they were like the size of, and the game system was like the size of a VCR.
Do you remember too? I had a zillion of these, all the Tiger Electronic games. Those just complete pieces of shit that we played just over and over. Like, oh, this is gonna get good, or it's gonna be whatever. Just I actually bought a couple ones that are similar to aren't Tiger ones, but there's a real Ghostbusters one, which is basically just like a Space Invaders, a thing you drop and you zip under them to get the points. And the other one was an Acclaim. It's like a wrestling. It's Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant, where you can sit there and go back and forth there. But like all those Tiger games they were so awful.
I used to play the Gauntlet one. That was the only one I would ever play because it was like the only one. I can't remember if I had it or one of the neighbor kids had it. But it was the only one in the neighborhood was Gauntlet. So I would just play the Gauntlet one. I also remember, speaking of those old Tiger and Acclaim handhelds, those freaking, I think it was Nintendo watches that had games on them. I want to say I had like a Super Mario Brothers 3 one, and like you'd get in trouble in school constantly for having it, and you always thought like you were such a badass because you had it.
Yeah.
But it was like somehow worse than the Acclaimed and the Tiger Electronic handhelds.
What's funny is that emulator I bought has those on it. It has all the Tiger games on it. It has all the watch game. Like you put it on, it's like, oh my god, well, how do we play this?
This technology is amazing.
I got this video game in my pocket. This complete piece of shit. Yeah, those were the worst. But yeah,
like it had because your fingers were too big for the buttons.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So there was like the analog and the other thing. You're just like.
Yeah, right.
And you're like, no, that's not what I wanted. And like, they're probably impossible to beat because you couldn't hit the right button you wanted to hit.
Right.
Oh God. Because I had one and I was in science class playing it and I got in trouble. I forget what grade I was in, but now those watches are about impossible to find.
Oh, I'm sure. Well, I'm sure most of them probably didn't survive. They weren't exactly made very well either. So it was like this little crappy tiger game on a watch.
Oh, and another thing too is from that era was this. They're actually coming back now, Tamagotchis,
Oh yeah.
to where you just had that little terrible digital screen with the cheesy background and then you got your little two buttons because you got to feed your bird or your dog or whatever. Before, if you don't feed it, it dies.
Yeah, I remember those, but I never had one.
Yeah, because it was a huge thing amongst girls, and so everyone had them on their backpacks and like, I gotta feed my chicken.
Yeah. Right.
I think too, the thing with Tamagotchi was, like, obviously it came from Japan because over in Japan they love all that goofy, weird stuff, and then they just brought it over here, and it just like took off. And I would love to know what the hell Tamagotchi even means.
Yeah,
because I don't think they didn't translate it to at all. So it probably means something like warm soup or something. Because they never like, I don't know. It's like Pokemon over there. Pokemon was called like Pocket Monster. But then that's what, like, I think that's what Pokemon translates to is Pocket Monster. So clearly they didn't like, oh, we don't want to call it Pocket Monster. We'll just call it, we'll just keep it Pokemon. So that's why I'm wondering what Tamagotchi means. Like tomato soup or something.
Probably
stupid.
something dumb, yeah.
Like something real dumb.
Something
like
that didn't translate.
clean the carpet.
Yeah, right.
Like something stupid that made no sense. But so you, all right, from doing, or I shouldn't say from recording this podcast, stuff like that. Oh, being the producer for the podcast, you've now begun to spiral down your childhood and going off and getting things.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So you got Gauntlet, and now you just bought Lee Trevino's Fighting Golf.
Yeah.
You were actually in the shop the other day. You bought what? Slick
and Jesse the Body Ventura, the LGNs. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like anything that I'm gonna buy, going back to kids, like I'm probably not gonna go down any other rabbit holes like Turtles or whatever. It's wrestling because I still watch wrestling. You know what I mean? So it'll probably be like wrestling stuff, like the Hasbro stuff. Like I have a handful of stuff that I've rebought. Sort of here and there. Like, I don't have like a big toy collection or anything like that, but like there's certain specific stuff I'll buy just to have it because it's
so now because of the podcast, you're slowly going down the rabbit hole. Which my buddy Scott, he listens to the show every time it comes up, and we brought up the one time we brought up those Toys R Us the ticket system things. He goes, "Oh my god, I forgot all about those. I need one." He went on eBay. They're like $400 a piece.
Jesus.
Because I'm like, who kept them?
Right.
They were just a piece of paper. You take up and get your video game and they toss it. But like, they're like, a lot of people who listen to the podcast now, like, oh, I forgot all about this. Oh, I'm trying to track this down and this. And the one thing you keep asking me about was this Coco Beware.
Oh, nice.
So for recording the podcast and everything, there you go. Merry Christmas.
Oh, dude.
You get Coco with Frankie.
Well, nice, man. Thank you. This is the first time I've ever seen Coco Beware in person. This figure, I've never as a kid because you couldn't find it anywhere, and then you couldn't find Coco Beware anywhere, or whatever. And then I haven't like collected or ever been to like a lot of toy shows or anything like that. But yeah, Coco Beware, man. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and like Frankie's always missing, and how you actually get him on him, I think it goes on his arm. I think.
I'm gonna break it. I haven't seen it. Yeah, there you go. There's Frankie. All right, so we got Coco and Frankie. See, I'm gonna have to do a close up here on this.
And like Frankie's always missing.
Yeah,
always.
Yeah, no, I never see. I never see.
And
Coco.
the weird thing too about the Coco Beware figure, I can never find one that's on an American card back. They're always like French.
Huh.
And I don't understand why. Like I think I have a carded one I think it's at Monsters in the toy box. I'm not sure if it's out or not, but it's like a French card back. I'm like, why do I not see the American card backs? There's certain figures that I don't understand that. I don't ever see the American version ones. Like we have at Monsters of the Toy Box, we have a carded Andre, and people are like, "Oh, that's a lot of money," because it's like $600. I said, "Well, the American one's over $1,000."
Yeah.
Like so, I'm like,
I wonder if they just made more of them over there, whatever. They you know what I mean? That those survived or whatever. But yeah, because like I said, I never saw this figure ever in the wild or whatever. I never saw. There were so many. I never saw Andre.
I see him often, but like I said, I honestly don't think I've had like a couple on card, but loose. I probably only have ever had 3 that has Frankie, because Frankie is always missing.
Yeah,
and I don't understand how you can. It's not like.
Yeah,
it's not like Big Boss Man's nightstick or the Mountie shock stick. You know what I mean? It's not like some small piece of whatever. It's an actual bird.
Yeah, we always lost Jake. We always lost the snake. We always lost Hacksaw's 2x4. We always lost Big Boss Man's nightstick. Like those were all like anything like little extra whatever is gone.
Oh, and another thing too is that the second Hacksaw they did came with a flag, and the flag's always missing.
Yeah,
I'm like I don't understand. Like the flag's not small. Like how do you just lose the flag?
Yeah.
Like I just don't get it. But whatever. We're kids. We lose everything.
Accessories didn't make it. No.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like my buddy, we did a house call. It was over in like out by York, PA, and there was like we bought a ton of. My buddy bought a ton of Joes from the guy. We went back to the house to get more stuff. And like we were like finishing up going through all the Joes he had because I was buying some of them, and then like he goes, "Oh, that stuff I already went through." And I'm like, "You have a worms antenna?" He's like, "What?" I don't know why, but every kid pulled the antenna out of the worms helmet from GI Joe. That antenna is like that stupid little. It's like this big. It's like stupid bunny. And I was like, "Holy crap!" I go, "You have a worms antenna?" He goes, "I don't know what that means."
Yeah, right.
I'm like, this antenna, I go, you can get like tons of money for it. I go, sell it for me then. And it's like another piece of plastic too is oh my God. Heavy metal that goes to the it's a G.I. Joe tank called the Mauler. His microphone is like $300.
Yeah, just any of the
because it's brown and it's the only brown microphone in the G.I. Joe line.
Yeah.
It's $300. Because it is impossible to find. Money or accessories. I tell people all that all the time. But I want to thank you, BJ, for coming on and doing this.
Yeah, that was fun.
And I want to thank you also for always recording this for me.
Yeah, no, it's cool. It's cool. It's fun. It's a nice break. It's different than what we have down here a lot of times. So yeah, it's cool listening to people talk about toys and their childhood. So yeah.
So everyone check out everything on Youngstown Studios. Tons of stuff. They're working, trying to get some new programming for next year. We'll be back next year unless we get canceled, which I don't think is going to happen. Fingers crossed, knock on wood. Make sure to check out Time Capsule Toys. Ohio returns February 8th. I hope that's the right date.
I think so, yeah.
I can't remember off the top of my head. My coffee still has not kicked in yet. And please go check out Monsters in the Toy Box. It's my new endeavor. So thank everyone tuning in and checking us out. And check out BJ's Band Turbo Lovers.
Cool.
Peace.